Acton?
Welcome to Aura and Shannon's Excellent Oscar Adventure, Oscar Wilde. This is a really good movie. This is the 16th Academy Awards, 1944, for the 1942/43 release of Casablanca, featuring Ingrid Bergman, Humphrey Bogart, and a number of other key actors. So you wanted me to tell the story.
You tell a story, but first, this is probably, when I think of old movies, this is what I think of. This one and Gone with the Wind. So when we initially started this project, the two that popped immediately to mind, of course, was Gone with the Wind and then Casablanca. It just seems to be like the quintessential old Hollywood movie.
Okay.
So I'll let you start the story and I'll just jump.
So he dressed up for this one, at least on the top half of his body.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not, but that's okay.
I look more like Humphrey Bogart and you not so much like Ingrid Bergman.
Okay. Anyway, so this is the story that's taken place, obviously, in Casablanca, Morocco. Humphrey Bogart plays the owner of a restaurant in Casablanca and during World War II. And he is an American in Morocco, very highly regarded, and in walks his old love, who he doesn't love anybody, but he loved this one woman. They had a passionate love affair, and they were going to get married and run off together.
In Paris.
In Paris. She shows up with her husband.
Mm-hmm.
He is a Czech resistance fighter, and it's the story of his struggle and her struggle, of their love that's unrequited, and his battle personally with rekindling that love or helping her husband to escape capture as a Czech resistance fighter. And so the story is really around that love more than the war that's going on, I would say.
Yeah, it's just the war is kind of the backdrop.
Right, because, the whole piece of the story is, you have to have basically tickets out to get out of Casablanca, and he has two in his possession. And so, the initial thought towards the end of the movie is that he and she are going to use it, but he gives it to her and her husband, and he actually, she's ready to go run back off with him, and he's like, no, you're going to go, and we're both going to do the right thing. And so that's basically the story.
That's kind of it
in a nutshell.
The whole movie could have been a play.
Actually, it started as a play.
And it started as a play.
Yeah, it started as a play.
It takes place at Rick's place, but I think probably 80% of the movie is actually filmed in the restaurant, bar, gambling, casino area. I think it's the quotes, though. They're so good for Casablanca.
Yeah, like...
Well,
go ahead.
But we always have Paris, because they have this point where they actually jump back in time and they show the torrid love affair between Humphrey Bogart and Ingrid Bergman in Paris. And so one of the classic lines from the film is, no matter what happens, when they go their separate ways, though their worlds apart, they always go back to this particular passionate love affair. And then, the line is, they'll always have Paris.
Right, that's true. It's not, frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. Wrong movie.
Yeah, wrong movie, but none of other classic lines. Let's see. One of the most misquoted lines is, play it again, Sam. And everybody thinks that's the line, and they think that Rick is the one that delivers the line.
But it's her.
Yeah. And it's not play it again, Sam. It's play it, Sam. Play it for old time's sake, or something along those lines.
So Sam is his right hand. He's the piano player at the restaurant. And Sam has been with Rick throughout their lives, their adult lives. So Sam knew, I don't remember what her name is.
Elsa.
Knew Elsa through the passionate love affair where she didn't show up at the train station where, in Paris, where they were going to go and live their lives together, married. It turns out that actually during this whole period of time where she had this love affair with him, she thought her husband was lost and dead. She thought he was gone forever in the war, but he was imprisoned and escaped. So when she found out that he escaped, she went back to him, of course, but she couldn't stand not telling him, so she just didn't show up at the train station. Broke his heart. This film won Best Film, Best Screenplay, and Best Director.
Yeah, they didn't really expect it to do much. I mean,
No,
they thought
they
it'd be
really
one of
didn't.
100 or so A-list movies that were coming out of Hollywood at the time.
Right.
But it really resonated with the audiences.
Right, and it made a tremendous amount of money, and it actually gained popularity through time. I think it was most popular like 10 years later in the mid-50s, and it still is an incredibly followed, popular film.
Yeah, it almost has a cult following.
Mm-hmm.
Here's Looking at You, Kid.
Right.
And you hear that in other movies, and then there's even in songs they'll go ahead and say, "Here's Looking at You, Kid."
So, and then there's one at the very end where Bogart walks off with the police.
The Vichy French.
Yeah,
policeman.
police. And because he kind of protects Humphrey Bogart during this whole process of Humphrey Bogart. Rick giving the tickets to Elsa and her husband to escape, and he says something about, "I think this is going to be
Beginning of a beautiful friendship.
Yeah.
That's a very classic line.
Yeah.
And right as he decides he's going to take care and protect Rick, he has all the police rushing in and everything like that, and he says, "Round up the usual suspects."
Yeah.
And that's also another classic one. There's actually, I think, there's a list of them, and it's like the top 50 most memorable lines from Casablanca. So just about every scene has like 2 or 3 of these just iconic, memorable lines.
It was a really good film. If you haven't seen it, it's a must-see. Everybody has to see it.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you think an American film and you
Yeah.
think of American film, you think of world film. This
Yeah.
is it. Or one of
Yeah.
them.
And Ingrid Bergman was fantastic. So was Humphrey Bogart, and so was the policeman was really good, and then the guy that sold him the tickets was really.
That was
good.
Peter Lorre.
Peter Lorre.
Yeah, which is a very famous actor from the time.
Yeah.
And he plays kind of a slimy little character in this one.
I would say that this is one of the top movies that we've seen so far.
Yeah, it's probably in the top 3 so far that we've seen.
Yeah, except for that our next movie is actually very
Very good.
dark.
Extremely, extremely dark.
Another Ingrid Bergman film. And I think we're in the Ingrid Bergman era.
Yeah, she was absolutely
Time frame.
huge during this time frame.
Yeah,
And what's really neat about these movies from a
tremendously beautiful.
they're filmed. Yeah, she's actually gorgeous, and they do like the soft focus when they focus
Yeah.
on her, so she's
Yeah.
all glowy. Then they have when they film these, it's really a harsh lighting, and it's all black and white. And there's cool shadows everywhere, and lots of darks and lights, and it's just really kind of neat.
You know, the interesting thing about these films is that, when I first started watching these films with you, you don't really think about these past actors and actresses as being, good actors, bad actors, beautiful,
Handsome, not handsome.
typecast. But, we're seeing these kinds of patterns, the same kinds of patterns that we see nowadays in films. And, I would say that the quality of acting has increased.
So they are
tremendously.
getting better. The cinematography is getting better. The directing's getting better. Everything's just getting better and better.
But some people are particularly good actors and actresses, like Ingrid Bergman is particularly good. Katharine Hepburn particularly good, I would say. Clark Gable
He was good.
particularly good.
Gary Cooper, not so good.
Not so good. We're starting to see those patterns, but this is definitely something that you must see. And, I guess we're not going to elaborate too much because everybody knows the story of Casablanca, but our next film is...
Gaslight.
yes,
Very,
very
very
dark. And so really worth seeing as well, and we'll go over that next time. So until then.
Bye.